The Venerable monks from Walk for Peace are a group of Buddhist monastics who embarked on a pilgrimage from Fort Worth, Texas to Washington, D.C. to raise awareness for peace in a time of so much outspoken hatred and crude violence. The monks belong to a Buddhist tradition deeply rooted in the Vipassana meditation, which is an ancient practice of focusing on self-awareness. The journey, known as Walk for Peace, spanned approximately 15 weeks and covered over 2,300 miles. The monks began their journey on October 26, 2025, starting from their Huangdao Vipassana Bhavana Center in Texas. Then their arduous walk ended on February 10th, 2026 in Washington, D.C., where they attended several ceremonies before their departure back to Texas. They walked for 108 days, which is actually also a sacred number. It's the sacred number of completion and energy centers in Buddhism teachings, and it is the number of beads in your mala rosary, like this one that I have here. The monks not only walked thousands of miles, but also inspired audiences along the way, engaging in public talks and teachings to spread their message of peace and promote some Buddhist-like teachings that could help us achieve that peace. And these are some of the main teachings the monks emphasized during their walk, and they're not in any particular order. First, start your day with intention. The leader monk Bhikkhu Panakara encouraged people to write a positive affirmation first thing in the morning, such as "Today will be a peaceful day," to set a calm and mindful tone for the day. He explained that peace starts within the individual and then spreads outward, not the other way around. Nobody can give you peace, they explained, because there will always be external circumstances that are out of our control. The next teaching is mindfulness through breath and the heartbeat. The monks explained that one easy and free way of practicing mindfulness is by focusing on your breathing and on your heartbeat to cultivate awareness and ease anxiety. This practice is free and can be done anywhere and at any time. Next is simplify daily activities. The Venerable monks expressed multiple times that engaging in acts of mindfulness during everyday mundane routines is an important way of fostering inner peace and clarity. A clear example they gave on this was to make your bed in the morning with care and attention. The next teaching was minimize distractions. They heavily encourage people and children to reduce time spent on smartphones and screens, to reconnect with our surroundings and reclaim our relationships while also promoting mental clarity and focus. They explained that it's important to reduce multitasking as much as we can in order to regain control of our actions through intentional focus. Next, clean your mirror. The monks use the metaphor of cleaning a mirror to describe the process of cultivating mindfulness and achieving inner peace. The idea is that our minds are like mirrors that can reflect clarity and truth, but over time they become clouded with negativity, distractions, and harmful thoughts. This encourages the act of tidying up after brushing your teeth as a way to integrate mindfulness in your routine and to, again, integrate mindfulness into the mundane tasks of everyday life. The next teaching is on true compassion. They encourage extending compassion not only to your loved ones, but also to strangers and even those with whom we disagree. This practice involves a heartfelt wish for others to be happy, safe, healthy, and at peace, transcending personal preferences, boundaries, and even judgments. It is about cultivating a boundless sense of care, not limited by proximity or familiarity. So basically, practicing compassion with even those who are different from us. By the way, I love how these teachings are very, very similar or even the same as many other teachings that we can find in other religious traditions and philosophies. The next lesson is community over isolation. The Walk for Peace monks encouraged embracing collective healing by participating in communal activities such as meditation sessions and/or discussions to foster unity and understanding. And lastly, peace requires daily effort. They explained that peace is everybody's responsibility and requires constant effort. They suggest that peace should be seen as a daily goal instead of a perfect, elusive future which might never arrive, because the nature of life in this world always involves some sort of challenge. So those were some of the main teachings taught by the Venerable monks from Walk for Peace that I was able to summarize from everything I saw online, from what I heard myself, from what I saw myself, and from what friends from my social media also saw. But of course, you can keep learning about the Walk for Peace and the Venerable Monk's pilgrimage online, or simply continue the conversation about peace with your friends and family. Talking about peace should never be a passing news. It should be part of our daily conversations and our daily efforts. Now, for those unfamiliar with Buddhism, the monks' teachings can be better understood within the context of core Buddhist teachings, which I can also summarize in this video. So, the foundational teachings of Buddhism are called the Four Noble Truths. These Four Noble Truths offer profound insights into the nature of existence, the causes of human suffering, and the path toward liberation from that suffering. So, the path to enlightenment or nirvana. And this philosophy was first formulated by Siddhartha Gautama, the founder of Buddhism, over 2,500 years ago. These truths are considered essential for understanding and leading a life that transcends suffering, at least in the Buddhist tradition. Okay, so let's look at the Noble Truths. The first truth asserts that life inherently involves suffering. So basically, life is suffering. However, this suffering that Buddhism refers to is more accurately described as a broad sense of dissatisfaction, discomfort, and an unease that permeates human existence. This truth acknowledges that birth, aging, illness, and death are inevitable parts of life, and that encountering pain, loss, and disappointment is part of the human condition. And by understanding and accepting the pervasive nature of suffering, individuals can develop a more compassionate and resilient approach to life's vicissitudes. Okay, so the first truth was that life is suffering and is part of the human condition. Now, the second truth is the truth of the cause of suffering. This truth identifies the origin of suffering as craving and attachment. Craving refers to an intense desire for pleasurable experiences, material possessions, status, and certain relationships, even, and much more. It also includes the aversion to unpleasant experiences and the desire for things to be different from what they are. We always desire for things to be different from what they are, even after achieving a goal. Right after that, we have another goal that we wish to achieve. So this craving leads to the attachment whereby individuals cling to impermanent things, seeking security and identity with those things. According to Buddhist teachings, cravings and attachments result in a cycle of desire and dissatisfaction. When desires are fulfilled, dissatisfaction is temporary, prompting the emergence of new desires. This endless cycle of craving and attachment underpins the persistence of suffering, the first truth. The recognition of this cause is crucial as it directs attention toward the internal rather than external sources of suffering, emphasizing the role of mental habits and attitudes towards life. Okay, so now let's look at the third noble truth in Buddhism, which is cessation of suffering. The third truth offers a message of hope and liberation. It states that cessation of suffering is possible by relinquishing craving and attachment. The third truth implies achievement of a state of peace and commitment known as nirvana. And remember, nirvana is not an actual place, but a state of being, a state of profound transformation characterized by the eradication of ignorance, hatred, and delusion. Now, to reach nirvana, according to Buddhism, one needs to extinguish the fire of desire, achieving a state of liberation from the perpetual cycle of suffering. This cessation is not an abstract or distant goal, rather, it is attainable in one's lifetime through dedication and practice. So, the third noble truth inspires individuals to seek freedom from the chains of craving, to cultivate inner peace and stability. And that right there is the real struggle. If ignoring the cravings of this world was an easy process, then everybody would have achieved nirvana by now. The problem is that it requires not only the will, but also a lot of effort. Buddhism offers a clear plan to actually help us in our path toward enlightenment. And this is within the fourth noble truth. Okay, so before concluding this video, I'm going to also explain very briefly what the Eightfold Path entails. I'm just going to list them here in my video, but if you want a more elaborated explanation on the Eightfold Path or the Four Noble Truths or Buddhism in general, let me know in the comments. Okay, so the Eightfold Path first step is the right view, understanding the four noble truths and the nature of reality. So everything we discussed before about suffering and craving. Number two, the right intention. We must foster attitudes of renunciation, goodwill, and harmlessness. Number three, the right speech. We must engage in truthful and benevolent, meaningful communication. Number four, the right action. We must behave ethically, avoiding harm to others, and that includes planet Earth. Number five, the right livelihood. We must pursue a profession that does not cause suffering to others. Then number six, the right effort. We must cultivate positive states of mind and prevent negative states. Then number seven, the right mindfulness. We should maintain awareness and attention to the present moment. And lastly, number eight, the right concentration. We should develop deep meditative states. Okay, so if you want me to expand on these topics, just let me know in the comments so I can dedicate a full video to Buddhism. If not, just still leave me a comment or a question in the down below. And thank you so much for watching, and see you in my next video.